new marriage. That is the consequence. Keeping in mind the good, we are sympathetic to them, understand. But then also, you cannot also go by in a society, my conscience says my first marriage is invalid. Your conscience says, please prove it also in front of the church that it is invalid. So that is the whole problem. I understand. Mercy. Again, the question of whole book 6 on punishment. So you are all in the school. How far mercy, how far punishment? Speaking about punishment, Canon 1341 will say 3 R's. Reform of the offender. Reform. Any law and punishment as this. Reform of the offender. In France, when I was studying in Rome, Paris and all, when they don't put the belt, while driving car, what they will take to the center of the city and then tie him with a belt and then put some 10 rounds fast they will, in order to teach the person, see, even though you are coming so many rounds, nothing happens to you. You become exhausted only after 1 hour only you can get up. So, reform of the offender. This is a type of punishment for not putting on the belt. Not putting on the belt. Reform of the offender. Then, restoration of justice. Justice has to be restored. Justice has to be restored. So there are other values, What happens to the first wife if she is not married? Both are marrying, sometimes there may be. What happens to the children? They will be with the mother or father. So these are problems. We have to go into them also. The children want the marriage of the parents to be saved. I don't run about here and there, all that. So many other things are there. The person cannot follow Charvaka philosophy and have one woman per day. So in some cases, it is very difficult for them. And then, reparation of scandal. The third one. Scandal is there. We need to protect other people's marriage. We need to protect the innocent spouse. We need to protect the children. But that's why justice delayed is justice denied. So, why all this happens? More than 60% of the problem is with the parish. No preparation. Fast food, fast marriage, no catechism. Catechism also, our Father, Hail Mary. Come on, bless the marriage. No liturgical preparation. No preparation. So we can avoid all this by putting our heart and soul in the family. Last year I was there in Singapore on 26th, the day following Christmas. It was a beautiful celebration. The parish priest asked me to preach. Milestone wedding anniversary. Means everyone who has completed 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25 years in that parish. All came for the celebration. So 5 years completed. In that year, this is like that. Some there about 50 couples or 60 couples came. It was such a joy to tell them like that about the value of marriage and these kind of post-marriage celebrations, making them together and making use of elderly couple who are experienced, asking them to instruct them on the problems of marriage, how to live. I was telling the other day how the elderly couple advised the priest, Father, you tell them, Father, marriage is a commitment, Father. That is the first one. Secondly, Father, each of them is the greatest gift of God to them, Father. Third thing, Father, you have to tell them, first thing first, Father. God first, wife second, or husband second, then only work and other relationship, Father. Tell these 3 things, Father, during the homily. Elderly couple advising a priest to tell these things. Ask them also to narrate their own story of the marriage. And then like this we have to give permission. Still there will be problem, I understand. But then we will do what is best possible. All these norms, if any of the canon law, I always say canon law is contrary to the Bible. Bible prevails, not canon law prevails. That's why Holy Father, while promulgating the code, the code is born of the Bible. All that Vatican II teaches in pastoral language, Code of Canon Law teaches in juridical language, that's all. For somebody who has really learned canon law is more pastoral, more understanding. That's how you have to look at it. Okay. One last question, Father. Yes, okay.
One Catholic man, wife died.
Yes.
So he married another marriage.
Yeah.
In the Protestant church.
In the Protestant church, Protestant girl.
No.
Huh.
I don't know Protestant or Hindu or something.
No, how can they? How will he marry?
But he gave baptism again in the Protestant church.
To whom?
Lady.
No, you have to tell me in order. But the first baptism took place first, or marriage took place first. You have to tell.
Yes, first. Then
Yeah.
married in the Protestant church.
Yeah. So, in other words, you have to tell me a Catholic married a Protestant in the Protestant church. Yes. That is simple.
He came to church. I said, let us practice the Catholic church. How we go for mass and all. After Easter, I rectified the marriage.
Okay.
But now she left the man. She went away.
Yeah.
But she was not there.
Yeah.
Now the man wants to receive the communion.
The man
Wants to receive the communion.
uh,
So what to do? The woman
wants to only receive communion or marry somebody else.
I don't know.
No, I am asking now the problem of the man is wants to receive communion or wants to marry also somebody else.
Nothing. Doesn't want to marry.
Only communion. Only communion. Okay. In his case, he was in an invalid marriage. So, invalid because consent was there, no impediment in the sense because both are Catholics. If non-baptized, it will be impediment of disparity of cult. This only permission is needed. What was absent is this marriage is canonically invalid. Canonically invalid. Because if bishop gives dispensation from canonical form, even canonically valid, even though it is celebrated. In rare cases, bishop may allow the Protestant minister to bless also. Please be aware of it. If one of them is Protestant, bishop may allow the Catholic party to get married because they are not allowing in rarest of rare cases. Otherwise there will be disrespect. Okay. So in this case, this marriage is invalid. So now he is asking about communion. He should make a confession for entering an invalid marriage and he has nothing to do with the woman. Then he can give communion. Even now, people in invalid marriages, if they promise to live as brother and sister, in the internal forum they can receive communion. When they receive communion in the parish, living as husband and wife only is the problem. The internal forum solution is always there. When you refrain from sex, even though you marry father, then they can internal forum, they go and then that's no problem. This question with regard to receiving communion, no problem. He is not living in the marriage. Okay. But make a simple confession for that. But suppose he wants to marry another girl also, no problem. No problem. What he has to do, you have to declare the first marriage as invalid. Very simple. Because it need not go to the full procedure. During the prenuptial inquiry, where were you married in the Protestant church? So is the marriage valid? Civilly valid. Has a civil divorce been obtained? Obtained. Now the marriage is invalid because no canonical form. Simple procedure can be followed and then that person can be allowed to marry also. But then your obligation towards the spouse, making it known to the new spouse, all these things are there. Okay. Father, moderator, you look at the people. What do you want me to do? New topic or anything? I will tell.
3 o'clock supposed to be break, but no break.
We continue without break till 4. Okay. And go away.
What do you say? Should we go ahead like this?
We'll finish at 4.
Okay. One at a time.
We will continue with another topic.
Another topic?
Yes.
You are all okay for the midnight?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, then you go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. Now the topic also can be suggested by you. I am open. Anything I can start with, like that, so many things. Well, I am sure you are all aware of the new norms with regard to the protection of minors. Some of you had seminar on them.
Yes.
Those who attended the seminar, briefly I want to expose it at least only 3 minutes, 4 minutes for the sake of others who did not attend the seminar. They should know it also. Yes, Father.
Another topic to be making, can you explain about marriage registration, how it is going on in the States?
Okay.
We have a problem.
Yeah, that is okay. I am not competent on that. I already the same questions came in Vijayawada also. I was shocked and surprised that the marriages in that diocese also are not registered civilly. In the case of Tamil Nadu, we are sending periodically the notification to the civil registrar, and then it is entered. It is followed in all the dioceses. It is to the decision of the Andhra and Telangana Bishops Conference to follow a uniform policy regarding this. So now, as of now, and not in the next meeting, I think bishops will take and then say how you help the people to register civilly also, because our marriage certificate is not considered valid most of the time for civil purposes. Okay. With that, I finished that because I am not competent.
Just to connect with that, does it mean they have to get a civil divorce because it's not registered?
No, we are speaking about civil registration.
True, registration, since it's not registered, therefore, do they require to get a civil divorce?
Yes, sure, because they recognize our marriage. But then for official purposes, they want it also that they don't consider our marriages invalid, even though it is blessed in the church. Okay, that is required. Our marriages are valid before the government, but the government requires that it is also civilly registered. In the case of France, they don't recognize our marriages as valid. Only if you civilly marry it is valid. Many countries, only if you civilly marry. To that extent, we have not come still. But we have to help our couple to register civilly also. But here in Gujarat and all, I came with a lot of questions regarding, as you know, Goa and Pondicherry. You have to marry first civilly, only then here it is compulsory. In the case of other Catholics in Tamil Nadu, elsewhere, if you marry civilly, it is called a rectification. One of the problem is, why did you marry? Because you are not forced to marry civilly first. What is taking place in the church only is the real marriage. So some situations, for example, of losing the job or force by the other party when they are not Catholic, all these lead them just to go through it, or to get the consent of the parents, they marry civilly. Afterwards they come and rectify. Is it rectification or really we can marry? Abroad and all, there is a lot of openness in this area. When I was doing the holiday ministry in Germany, all the marriages I blessed invariably were with the baptism of the children. So we will call rectification. But for them, at least after 5-6 years, they are coming for the marriage. Be grateful to them, celebrate mass, all. Here they will say secretly, it is a rectification of the marriage. You should not make big fuss all that. So you understand the spirit of it. So as of now, the government recognizes our marriage, and there is a mandate that it has to be registered civilly also, and we are sending the documentation. Even in Bangalore, every marriage we get in the register, in our church marriage register, and also signature in the government register, which is to be sent to the government. There is no parish in Bangalore where you don't sign both church register, government register. The parish will send it to the government, but Andhra bishops will decide on it till a uniform policy comes. Anyhow, ignorance is bliss. Be in the ignorance. Okay, I don't want to talk on it. I don't feel competent. Okay, on this. Okay.
In Hyderabad, they are meeting.
Now meeting. Okay.
This rule has come because the Supreme Court had said that every marriage has to be civilly registered.
Civilly registered, yes.
So now,
But we have been following right from the time I was parish priest. I have been sending notification every 3 months. Back in 89, I was parish priest in 89. So that time also I was sending, we were sending regularly the notification to the civil government. Okay.
if we are not registering,
Oh, okay.
even if we are interested,
Yeah.
we don't have infrastructure from the government side.
Yeah, that has to be
They don't
taken.
know the law and all that.
Yeah.
So, but people want to go abroad and so
Yeah,
on.
they have
The
problems.
certificate that we give is not valid.
Yeah.
So these people individually go and register and then get the
Yeah, that has to be, we should have a common policy and work. Then something else, one topic was suggested. I wanted to speak about it, this protection of minors. Are you interested in topic or some other topic? Now those who attended the seminar, you know, whether you are interested or not, sometimes you don't want to know.
2-3 minutes as you said. No?
Yeah, 2-3 minutes. So, you know that long back within the church, a law came in 2002 and 2010. 2010. Some of the offences or crimes are reserved to the CDF. The Holy Father, Benedict XVI, decided Congregation of Doctrine of Faith will deal with some of the offences. The document is called SST, Sacramentorum Sanctitatis Tutela, protection of the sanctity of the sacraments. Protection of the sanctity of the sacrament. Sanctitorum, Sacramentorum Sanctitatis Tutela. That is the document. So, by this document, the Holy Father said that offences against the sacrament of penance, offences against the sacrament of Holy Eucharist, are all reserved to the highest authority in the church, Congregation for the Doctrine of Faith. Anybody violates confessional seal, anybody violates it directly or even indirectly. Formerly it was indirect violation, was not revealed. Simply you said in the sermon something, some people here commit that sin, you said also. Now it has to be reported by the bishop immediately to the Congregation for Doctrine of Faith. Direct violation is you know the identity of the sin, identity of the penitent. Indirect violation means vaguely you can know it. So this is the serious thing, or regarding the confession. To this, he added also some of the serious crimes. Serious crimes outside this sacrament. One is, of course, possessing child pornographic material, or distributing or watching child pornographic material, pedophile pornography, that is below 14 in this case. It is a serious offense. If you are having in the laptop, bishop is informed about it, immediately bishop has the obligation to inform the police. This is one. Of course, with regard to parents recording the confession, another thing is sexual offense against minors below 18. Sexual offense below 18. So, the persons concerned, the parents, guardians, and the victim themselves can report it to the bishop. And the person has the right to accuse if he has been offended. For sometimes some offense have taken place 2 or 3 years, you keep quiet, you can't do anything. Civilly also, canonically also. But in this case, the prescription is increased to 20 years after the victim attains majority. That means, suppose somebody abused a boy or a girl who is 10-year-old. 10 plus 8, the person reaches majority, plus 20. The person who abused is 50. 50 plus 28. At the age of 78 also you can be called to court. Afterwards you did not do anything. So this is a serious thing. I don't want any of you to be involved in that and be dismissed from the clerical seat. It is not necessary you complete the offense till the very end. Abuse, fondling, caressing, touching in an inappropriate way, all these things will be taken into consideration. All these things will be into consideration. The church follows a policy of zero tolerance, and CBCI came out with the CBCI policy. I was also together with Cardinal Oswald, of course, our bishop, involved in the preparation of the drafts in the initial stages. And that was only promulgated on 1st October by Cardinal Claymes, 2015. It was promulgated, it is the policy, it says very clearly, as soon as the accusation comes, the bishop must constitute a preliminary inquiry committee of 3 persons. 3 persons. Don't blame the bishop. And then the law, post-court. So, civil law also. If the competent superior or one who came into knowledge doesn't report, you will be also arrested, prosecuted. Read the law, the civil law of the country, which is more strict than the church law also. You know what is going on in the country. Don't blame the bishop, I did not know, Father. Don't deal with anybody. And then within 1 month, the preliminary offense committee must submit the report to the bishop. Within 1 month, it has to submit the report to the bishop. Then if there is semblance of truth, bishop has to immediately write to the CDF. And they will give directions. Sometimes they may ask for supplementary instruction. In that case, there is what is known as sexual offense committee. Sexual offense committee. Another committee which is set up. They can give their opinion, observations, everything after contacting all the witnesses and all. Within 3 months they have to give. Then everything is sent with the opinion of the bishop, the congregation takes the decision. But as soon as here, after 1 month itself, the priest action is taken, congregation has sent a letter, he must be sent on administrative leave. It is not called suspension, but administrative leave. Practically the consequences are same. Once the case is initiated, you are not allowed to celebrate Mass publicly or preach publicly. Sometimes if you ask, Father, it may be innocently the person may be accused. Yes, it is possible, but then the congregation will instruct. You can always, so the first team has the obligation to contact the offender and the accused and the victim and the witnesses any, and based on that only when the letter comes from the Holy See, Holy See will say, start penal action. Penal action. Either administrative or judicial. Judicial means it will be given to the judges. Administrative means it may be also one canonist but assisting the bishop, and he will decide, and then finally the punishment, not excluding dismissal from the clerical state, will be done. Even a one-time serious offense with force, with threat, especially with a minor, is cause for the dismissal from the clerical state. So this is one, because Jesus said, let children come to me, little children come to me, do not hinder them. You are hindering not only a child but the whole family, whole parish. It is like the fence eating the crops. That's why the church follows zero tolerance policy here. Sometimes if you want to make appeal against the decision, local level recommendation, at the CBCA level, there will be an arbor committee to which you can appeal like that, and they can also say, but we cannot, some cases we cannot help. We cannot help. Please be aware of it. It is not to frighten you. Please see to it that you do not have inappropriate relationship with children. You may think it is normal, but you must be above suspicion. That is one thing. Second, the second point is, you are in the school institutions, see to it that the wardens or other teachers do not behave in an inappropriate way. Children know why this person touched, why this person did like this. So this is our obligation to protect the minors and also the female workers. So now another short instruction came from the Holy See. If a particular bishop does not take action, even after receiving complaint, he can be asked to resign. The bishop has the obligation to prove that he took action when he received the complaint. And they added one more sentence also. That was what was very difficult for me sometimes to accept. Not only minors, but also persons who are equivalent to minors. Equivalent to minors. Mentally discharged people are vulnerable persons. That's the word used. Vulnerable persons. So, vulnerable here, we may think of a mentally retarded or physically retarded. One thing, vulnerable. Suppose there is a teacher, there is a lady catechist who is dependent on your salary. You are doing something with her. She will also come later on under vulnerable. It might have been initially consensual sex, but then the person will say, I agreed to all that because the person gave me salary, I could not oppose. Such person gives complaint also, they will be considered as vulnerable adults. What action you have taken, it will come. What action? One thing is, today is a sanctification day, you all make good confession. You have to see to it if there is any inappropriate behavior with regard to this area. I will ensure the protection of minors. I am asked to bring people to Christ, not to take people away from Christ. That is one thing. Another thing is, I will also ensure an atmosphere within the parish campus, within the institution campus, that all children are especially protected. That is a serious obligation. And again, I go back to Luke 12 chapter. That servant who know the master's will, who did not know the master's will, he will get a slight beating. The other servant who knew the master's will and did not follow the master's will, do the master, he will get a severe beating. You cannot say that I did not know all this, right of defense, like that it will come, I am sorry, like that. So how can you behave in such an imprudent way? The situation is that because of certain things, I don't go into the details of the cases referred to me. There are so many, umpteen number of cases, I don't want to share. Some of them, the priests are completely imprudent. They cannot defend themselves. And that is it. You don't exercise ministry. Of course, baptism and ordination imprint an indelible character, agreed. But you are asked not to exercise ministry except hearing confession in danger of death, according to 976. That is the serious punishment. I have been a party for as canonical advisor, assessor to deal with some of the cases. It's so pathetic. Some of them in the late 60s and are being dismissed. Late 50s and 60s being dismissed. It's so pathetic. They served well. But in this area they are faulted and there is sufficient proof. Some of them accepted. Some of them, though they want to deny, there is sufficient proof, electronic evidence for all that they need, then there is a problem. So this is the thing. Don't blame the authorities. And here says, under no pretext of privacy or things like that, good name of the thing, the bishop should not fail to cooperate with the civil authorities. Our policy is very clear. Utmost cooperation has to be given to the civil authorities. Civilly also, case will go on. That punishment you have to face. You know, in the country, a few priests are in jail on the basis of this. Not one or two, more than a few. Okay. Yeah, it's going to be 4.
What about this Nirbhaya case of our land? We have this child appeal. The elderly people and all that. These cases, either priests or people.
Yeah.
We have the same obligation to report to the. One thing is to report to the Holy See.
Yes.
The bishop has the duty to inform the civil authorities here if I.
When they are more than minors, you mean?
Minors also. Minors more than minors.
Yeah.
Inform the civil authorities.